Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we're just going to take a quick look at a really old figure, but I just got it recently, so I thought I would show you guys. There are some really good things about this figure, so it's one of the other reasons I wanted to point this out, bring this out, other than just the fact that I got it recently. But anyway, this is the X-Men Classics Marvel Legends style figure Rogue. So X-Men Classics, if you're not familiar, is one of those kind of offshoot lines of the Marvel Legends. We got some variations in some of the figures. Some severe variations, as you can see here, or you can look back at the Colossus review I did so you can see some of the differences between those figures. So this one, if you're familiar with the 2-pack Domino figure, it's the same mold for the body. I think this figure might have actually used the mold first, but either way, it's aside from being reused at one time, they might have used some of the parts here and there, but for the most part, it's a really unique mold. There's a lot of detail on it, so it looks really, really nice. And this figure has some decent paint work on it. Like I said, it's pretty old, and back then the paint wasn't great, but it was there at least, so that was a good thing. So let me get it off the stand, and we will take a look at it up close so you can see the articulation and some of the details up close. Okay, so this figure stands roughly 6 1/4 inches tall, so it is probably technically too tall, but most of the legends are not actually in scale, so that's all right. 16 centimeters, and when I say they're not in scale, they're not truly 1/12 scale. Most of them are too tall for it, but this one fits in just fine. And as you can see, like I said a minute ago, lots of sculpted detail throughout the costume. You can see all of the seam work going down the center, around the where the red and blue meets. The legs are just loaded with sculpted detail. Looks like her knee's bent right now. It's stuck. Like I said, it's a really old figure, so I'll have to loosen some of the joints perhaps, but lots of sculpted detail throughout. Very, very nice looking figure. You can see on the arms. Actually, I think her arms are different from Domino's because Domino didn't have the jacket. Or did she? I don't remember anymore. They don't use all of this. Actually, she probably has different hands too because Domino had guns. You know, I don't know. Most of it's the same figure. It doesn't really matter though. Lots of unique parts, lots of nice sculpt work. They actually sculpted the X logo there. And then one of the things I like a lot about this figure is I think it has a really nice head sculpt. It doesn't look like every other female figure like all of the current ones do, so that's a really good thing. The hair is not bad. The paintwork on the hair does make it look a little chunky, but it's actually a really nice sculpt. And the paintwork isn't too bad. I'm very pleased with it, and I think the paintwork on the face is particularly nice. The way they did the shading on the cheeks, the eyes have a load of detail in there. Very, very nicely done. I'm super pleased with this figure. And then the jacket is a nice soft material, so it won't get in the way, even though it probably wouldn't have anyway. You have less chance even, so that's pretty good. Very nice figure. Now, as far as articulation goes, like I said, some of it's stuck, so I won't be able to show you, but it does have a good deal. The head is on a little ball peg at the top, but then it also has the hinge in there, so full range of motion there. The shoulders have the full-on butterfly joints. They do have a little bit of a limitation, though, because you can see the shoulders are sculpted all the way up, so you can only go as far as the sculpt will allow. So not the best range in the lateral movement for the shoulders. We have a bicep swivel, a double jointed elbow, which gives you really good range. We have a wrist swivel in the forearm. That one's stuck. We have a hinge in the wrist. That one's also stuck. Then we have a hinge in the hands. Not the best, not the most useful, but it is there, and it doesn't look too bad. The arms are probably a little bit too thin. That was kind of common back in the day. But it doesn't stand out horribly on this figure. I think it's okay. We do have a diaphragm joint at the top. It doesn't normally have the best range of motion, but this one's stuck, so I can't show you that, unfortunately. Ab crunch does work. It snaps forward, and it does ratchet all the way back, so really good range of motion there. And there's no waist twist, which is good because it wouldn't have looked good, and that's what the diaphragm joint is for up here. So if you can get one that's not super tight, mine wiggles a little bit, but it doesn't go as far as it should, that will accomplish your waist twist. Now here's one of the problems is the hips. They look really good. They're almost seamless, but they have really minimal range of motion. You can get them out a little bit, in a little bit, but they are wide jointed, so bringing the legs up to the front is going to be a little bit of work. You're going to have to really play with it to kind of rotate that joint to get that to work, but you do get your thigh swivel in there. You have your double jointed knees, good range of motion. And then you have a boot swivel right there. a shin swivel at the top of the boot, a really nice ankle hinge, a nice ankle rocker, a true ankle rocker, which is really where they need to be at. Again, I think these current ones just don't work well. And then we have a toe joint, which is pretty good. Oftentimes on figures for the toe joint, they make the toe part so long after the joint, it's really unnatural. And in reality, that's a little bit better looking. So I do like that a whole lot. So all in all, it's a really solid figure. It's not perfect, but it is pretty darn good. And I'm super happy to finally have it in my collection. It's definitely better than the existing Rogue figure. And hopefully we'll get a good Rogue coming in this new X-Men line. But there's no guarantee. So this might be the only one, despite the fact that it's in this odd costume. It's definitely a figure I recommend you pick up. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.